each other. Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio here on the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number to call if you want to chat with me after the first break. You know, there's a lot of stuff, and some of you might be bothered by me these last couple of weeks. I seem to be talking about New York City politics like every other week, if not every week. I get it. You might be like, Larry, getting tired of this. Getting tired of you. Keep talking about New York City politics. Okay, I get it. But hear me out on this. This could be really what's happening within the Democratic Party in New York State. And it could affect the entire state. Look, we all know the Democratic Party controls this entire state. We're aware of that. Whether you're happy about that is another thing. But we know it is true. And there are many states that have the same problem. And these civil strifes in between these parties sometimes affects everything. So we should be aware. But it reminded me of a story. It's a story about my mom, believe it or not. Well, my mom and I, and my dad at the time, were all in New York City, grew up in the Bronx. My mom did not like Republicans at all. At all. And me not knowing anything about politics, being a kid, elementary school, I said, Mom, why don't you like Republicans? And not that I cared either way. I didn't know. I was just asking questions because she would always talk bad about Republicans. And she said, well, because they're bad. I went, oh, okay, but why are they bad, right? That was my question. And this was an innocent question for me as like a 9-year-old, right? An 8-year-old. Like, why do you not like them? My father was not political at all. He didn't care. He was out doing other things, sometimes not so good. But he was doing that kind of stuff all day long. He wasn't concerned. My mom was very concerned about politics. And she did not like Republicans at all. So I asked her again. I was like, okay, I get that you don't like them, but why not? Like, what's wrong with them? Why they're not good. They don't care about us. And she liked, I remember this, Mayor Koch. Some of you may be old enough to remember Mayor Koch. And I said, why do you like him? And she said, well, because he's always going around asking people, how am I doing? He's a good guy. I like him. He's a good guy. I like him. And from that time of being a little kid, I remember thinking to myself, oh, this is about people you like. And it still is. That hasn't changed. This is still about people you like. Yes. Some people say, wait a minute, Larry, how can this Mamdani guy be doing anything in New York City? How is that possible? The guy's likable. That's true. He goes around the city saying things like, how you doing? What's going on? People like that. You might go, but wait a minute. Larry, that's not policy. That's not going to help the city. True. And doesn't matter. You're not wrong if you're thinking that. You're correct. That's not going to help the city. Some guy being friendly and nice and shaking your hand and asking how you doing is not going to help the city. True. But boy, do people like it. And I see that happening within New York City, all over the place. So who's been copying that? You guessed it, Andrew Cuomo. He's going around shaking people's hands, saying hi to everybody in Manhattan. How you doing? Remember me? How you doing? He's doing it too. He's copying. He's like, well, that worked for that guy. I'll do it too. Now, I would ask you, whether you live in New York City or not, can you think of any of Andrew Cuomo's policies for New York City? Yeah, no, you can't, because there aren't any. Of course you can't. Yes, there's no way you could. There aren't any. Now, Mamdani, as scary as some of his are, Oh, you know of them. You've heard of that. We're going to freeze the rent. We're going to take the money from the rich people. Oh, yeah, you raise the taxes. Oh, yeah. You know those. We're going to make grocery stores that are run by the government, because what could go wrong? So yes, you know those. She might say, okay, Larry, I heard this. I get it. But why do I care? Here's the reason why you should care. Well, maybe not care. Why it matters. How about that? Why it matters. Because this is going to be a symbol of a possible civil war within the Democratic Party in New York State, and then eventually across the entire nation. And if you don't live in a blue state, if you live in like Missouri or something, or Oklahoma, may not affect you that much. You may say, I don't care. I live in a deep red state. I don't care what Democrats do. Okay, maybe. But if you live in a blue state, oh, you need to care. If you think establishment Democrats are better than socialist Democrats, then you should want Andrew Cuomo to win this war. I know some of you just threw up in your mouth. I know some of you did. I'm sorry about that. I probably should have warned you before I said that. But that's true. Why? Because then the establishment will block the socialists. They've been doing it for years. I know people always go, all these people, all these Democrats are all socialists, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, not really. They're just establishment. I mean, they talk socialists all the time, but they're really just establishment. There's a couple socialist ones, or at least left-leaning ones out there. Mamdani is one of them. So is Bill de Blasio. He's one of them. That's why he's out there supporting Mamdani. Now, AOC, she did initially start like that. Then she was like, wait a minute. There's a whole lot more money and power in establishment. I think I'll go that way. I'll go that way. I'll go establishment, and that'll work. I'll get power that way. And then they said, no, youngin, this is all about, who's been here longer, seniority. You got to step in line. And she said, oh, So she decided she's going to go back to the Mamdani world again. Now, look, can she win this and get back into her leftist, I guess, street cred? Maybe. I don't know. But boy, oh boy, is she trying. So she's going there too. Why? She has charisma. So does Bernie. So does Mamdani. And here's the saddest part. If there's establishment Democrats listening, here is the saddest part. The guy in New York with the most charisma on your side is Andrew Cuomo. I know. If you're an established Democrat, I'm sorry for you, but it's true. That's your guy. And you're saying, wait a minute, Cuomo's my guy? Yeah, Cuomo's your guy. That's who you got. You can be mad at me if you want. You can be happy with me if you want, but he's your guy. If you're an established Democrat, that guy, he's going to win it for you or lose it for you. That's the guy. And you might say, Larry, you're kidding. Oh, no. If you remember weeks ago, what did I say was going to happen? Who did I say would decide this? Oh, yes, I did. The donors. The donors will decide. They will throw money at either Adams or Cuomo, one of those two. And then there will be the new chosen champion to beat the evil Mamdani and to push Sliwa aside. That will be their job. And I'm looking right now at what the donors are saying. Oh, it's Cuomo. Now, you may like Adams better than Cuomo. You may not. But it doesn't matter what you think. Even if you live in New York City right now, does not matter what you think. It is irrelevant what you think. What they care about is what the donors think. And when literally Bloomberg says, I have a check for $8 million, I'm not joking. I have a check for $8 million that I'm going to give to somebody. And then everyone else who sees that goes, oh, wait, he gave $8 million. We'll put money behind that because now I feel comfortable because $8 million makes me feel comfortable. I have 8 million reasons to feel comfortable now. So I'll do that. So when he writes that check for $8 million, everyone else follows him. Well, who's going to get that check? Cuomo is. Wait a minute, Larry. Are you telling me that even though there is a popular uprising within the Democratic Party with people like Mamdani, people like AOC, that the Democrats are not going to accept that? They're going to try to fight that. Of course they are. Of course, Republicans would have stopped Trump in 2016 if I took him seriously. They didn't take him seriously. They thought that guy can't win. That's what Republicans, I'm sorry, establishment Republicans. I need to be clear on this. There's a difference between the average Republican who just votes and the Republican establishment. The Republican establishment back in 2016, they laughed at Trump. He can't win. Who cares about that guy? Let him. He's a clown. Uh-oh. Well, that didn't work. Democrats were actually savvier. In 2016, they were savvier. They were like, oh, this Bernie guy, he might win. No, we got to crush him now. And that establishment went right after him and devastated him again and again and again. Republican establishment screwed up. Let Trump win that thing. That was done with them. They're still paying the price. The establishment Republicans are still paying the price for that. They screwed it up badly. Democrats had it covered. Squashed all these guys. So you can guarantee they will try to squash Mamdani. The question is, will they win? If they do, Cuomo becomes governor. He becomes mayor of New York. If he becomes mayor of New York, nothing changes in the Democratic Party. They stay exactly the same. Establishment as always. Nothing changes. They keep pushing through. They keep making money. You might say, wait a minute, Larry, are you actually saying you would like a Mamdani revolution? Kinda, yeah. I said it before. Kinda, yeah. Why? The system's so broken, maybe Mamdani will get the Democrats to do something and stop just crushing us. Maybe they'll have to have an actual revolution in a battle and fix something. We'll see. I know what's working now is not working. Maybe I'm crazy. If I am, you tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about Flower City Collision in Henrietta, saying that it was started by a veteran along with his son, Zach. Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and I am that veteran. I want to thank the WYSL listeners for their support over the last couple of years. During those years, not only have I experienced the gratification of providing you the best repairs and customer service, it has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional. So remember, Flower City Collision for your collision repair needs. And thank you for supporting our locally owned family business.
Looking for a way to make your shopping really count? The Stars and Stripes Flag Store transforms every purchase into direct support for local veterans through the Veterans Outreach Center. Browse our selection of flags, apparel, locally crafted merchandise, from laser engraved mugs to handcrafted wooden plaques.
When we come back, I'm going to play an oldie but goodie Cuomo clip.
This is shopping that changes lives. Visit us Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 783 South Avenue in Rochester or online at www.eflagstore.com.
Meet your friends and family at Patty's Pub and Grill. We know you're gonna like it a lot. We really know you will. There's something here for you and yours. Come in and get your fill. And you'll be sure to be coming again to Patty's Pub and Grill. There's something here for you and yours. Come in and get your fill. And you'll be sure to be coming again to Patty's Pub and Grill.
Sharpe Way Radio on the voice of liberty.
We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. We will reach greatness when every American is fully engaged.
See that? Cuomo cares about you. That's your guy. If you're an establishment Democrat, good luck with that. But look, if you throw enough money at it, maybe you win. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number. I want to grab some of the chat. John says, if Sleewood drops out for either Adams or Cuomo, he needs policy guarantees. Otherwise, I believe they will not win, and Mamdani gets everything for 4 years. This is a great point. I don't see Sleewood dropping out. Could he? I mean, maybe. It's not completely out of the question, but it seems nutty. I can't, particularly with Cuomo. right? If Adams were the guy, I think there's a chance that Sliwa could have dropped out. That was my way of it, in my opinion. Sorry, let me back it up a bit, John. If I was advising, I'm not, but if I was, and people wanted to stop Mamdani, I would have said, okay, the answer is Adams. Why? Adams is an incumbent. Adams is now an independent. Gets Sliwa and Cuomo to drop out, get all the money behind Adams, use the bully pulpit that he has as mayor, grab all the Republicans. He's a former Republican anyway. I mean, he used to be a Republican anyway. So he can grab all the Republican votes. He can get all of Sliwa's votes. He can get a bunch of Cuomo's votes with a bunch more money. They, smear Mamdani, easy win. That would have been my advice to them. The problem is they didn't ask me, number one. Not that I would have cared that way, but just saying it, that's what I would have told them. And the next thing is the donor class has to deal with all these guys with huge egos. Sliwa has a huge ego. Cuomo has a huge ego. Adams has a huge ego. Of course, you don't run for mayor without one. That's how it works. So they have to deal with those issues. And each of them thought, I can get the donors to give me money. And the reality of it is, the only person with a track record of getting massive money from donors was Cuomo. That was it. Sliwa doesn't have a track record. Adams doesn't have that track record. Only Cuomo has that track record. That's just true. And he proved it by going out again and getting donors writing big checks. So now Cuomo's probably, unless something nutty happens, Cuomo's the guy. Which means if anyone drops out, it'll be Adams. I can't see Sliwa dropping out for Cuomo. Could I see him dropping out for Adams? Maybe. Former Republican? Maybe. That was a doable thing. I don't see him dropping out for Cuomo. I can't imagine. I can't see the Republican Party. The damage the Republican Party would take in New York City for that is massive. I don't see it. Look, could. My gut tells me Cuomo's the guy, and at one point, Adams drops out and backs Cuomo. That is my gut, what I think is going to happen. With that, I think if Adams drops and backs Cuomo, I think he can beat Mamdani. I think the numbers are there. I think if no one drops out, Mamdani's got a good shot. But if anyone drops out, I think Mamdani's done, because the problem with Mamdani is he has a ceiling. That's the issue. He's got a ceiling. At a certain percentage of New York City people just won't vote for him. So he's got a ceiling. That is my issue. I hope that makes sense. So Mike Voss says Sliwa must stay in to take advantage of the Dem split vote. He drops and Dems get a guarantee, but advantage shifts to Mamdani as Adams is disliked far too much. I don't think Sliwa has to stay in. I mean, you'll love this, Mike. Without ranked choice voting, he can't win. With ranked choice voting, he could. So, I mean, he's only going to get 20-something%. That's his ceiling, is 20-something%. So everyone else is going to keep voting someplace else. So they take advantage of Dem split for what? He got, 23% of the vote last time? He'll get about the same. Maybe 24, maybe. That's about it. He'll get 20-something% of the vote, like he always gets. And the Democrats will split the rest. One of them will win. If Adams drops out or Cuomo drops out, those two combined could beat Mamdani. Without that, look, as of now, Mamdani wins. However, there's still 3 months left. And in these 3 months, it is going to be slime Mamdani all day long. The question is, will the sliming work? Generally speaking, it does. But we'll see. Let's see. Biote says, Dems control California. True. And are in the pocket of oil, tech, real estate, etc. Yeah, here, yes, but not oil. Us, it's real estate, big ag, military industrial complex, and finance. That's here in New York State. But same concept. I agree with you. But the other issue becomes, you have someone in California, Ro Khanna. That guy's a wild card. He is. He's a wild card because parts of him are actually Republican, parts of him are libertarian, and parts of him are socialist. He's all over. This is why sometimes you'll see him do single issue. He'll have single issue coalitions with people like Massey and others, and Bernie. He'll go back and forth. That guy to me is a wild card. And why do I say he matters so much? Because he's very popular and clearly supported by tech. I mean, clearly supported by tech. So I'm not sure where he's going to go. I could see him flip-flopping all over the place. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about him, but that's what I see. Dave says, question, is New York City progressive? Is New York City communist? There's a difference. There is a difference. Agreed. And I think New York City is actually both. What do I mean by that? I mean, New York City is proud of being progressive, openly proud of it. And I'm not mad at it. It's the city. I get it. But communism is happening because of the wealth gap. What I keep saying, happy people don't want socialism. Wealth gap creates communism. Because what happens is when there's a massive wealth gap, people say, the gap is so far, I can never span that gap, right? I can never cross that gorge. I can't get past it. And if I can't get around it, I need something big to make it fair. And that's how people think. Now, Dave, you may disagree, but I'm telling you how people think. So they go, well, why do the rich people have everything and I have nothing? Well, communism will fix that. So I think that's why a lot of New Yorkers are becoming that route. Socialist, communist, a lot are. Now, is the city that? Yes and no. Are they communist in the theoretical way, meaning direct democracy, no class, that kind of stuff? Now, are they communist like Soviet Union? 100%. 100%. Yes. Oligarchs. The Soviet Union was run by oligarchs, supposedly communism. Same as China, supposedly communism, run by oligarchs. So yes, the communism that we know to be actually true, what actually happens to communism, New York is that. The theoretical, no. I hope that answers your question. So yeah. All righty. Dave goes on to say, Ed Koch couldn't get elected anywhere today. Well, I don't know. Good question. Maybe. He wasn't a hardcore progressive, but for his time, he was progressive, I think. For his time, he was. But today's progressivism, he's not there. That's not where he was. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Mike says to Dave, New York City is neither free stuff and the hope of a return to prior growth. A strong ad campaign with slick slogans win. I'm not sure that's true. And why I said that is, Mamdani has what you just said. And he's not winning in the polls. And assuming that one of these other guys drops out, he may not win this election. I think a lot of people don't believe this return to prior growth. They just want things to be better in general. So I don't know. Mike goes on to say, he met Koch. Okay. Could win as a conservative / Republican. Dems wouldn't support him. They moved that far. I think you're right. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Massman Hour says, I remember one about old folk homes. Yes. Let me. The one that I thought was funny is Sliwa said, what did he say? Hold on. Oh, grabbing fannies and killing grannies. That was what he said about Cuomo. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What do you guys think? Am I right here? You can tell me. Am I right? 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls and more of your chat. I do see you after the break.
God bless America.
WYSL.
Avon, Rochester, WLEA, WLEA-FM, Hornell, New York. Canisteo Valley Update.
Ponderosa on Broadway in Hornell.
All right, we got Craig from Clinton.
2000s. It was sold.
Okay, you know which Craig that is.
It became the Hornell Community Arts Center. Hornell Mayor John
I'll hit another Cuomo clip when we come back.
The Community Arts Center's appearance at tonight's Common Council meeting.
So the Common Council is voting on New York BRICS application to New York State, and that application is for a grant to enhance the Community Arts Center downtown, and that is our collaborative effort with the YMCA, Hornell Public Library, and Hornell Community Theater to really activate that space and make it an attraction to people of all ages. We basically want to turn the building into something that doesn't look like an old Ponderosa and make it attractive inside and outside, and this grant money will go a long way to achieving that goal.
Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. Mainly clear, a little on the cool side. We'll dip down well into the 50s on Tuesday. Another gorgeous day coming up with plenty of sunshine, still low humidity, pleasant temps in the 70s. We'll heat it up some on Wednesday, mid and upper 80s with mostly sunny skies. Hazy, hot, and humid in the 90s on Thursday. I'm Rich Canilia for the Voice of Liberty.
When you think chicken, think Stearns Poultry Farm Stores. Stearns Poultry Farm Stores with 2 locations, Seneca Street, Hornell, and Route 244 in Alfred Station. Stearns, the best chicken in these parts.
Summer adventures, savings, and selection are yours when you shop Victor Chevrolet. Lease a 2025 Chevy Trax 1LT for just $179 a month for 24 months. If you need a pickup, get the versatility of a 2025 Chevy Silverado 4-wheel drive LT Crew Cab for just $209 a month for 24 months. A 25 Chevy Equinox front-wheel drive LT, only $225 a month for 24 months. Or a 2025 Equinox EV2 RS, just $199 a month for 36 months. $2,500 cash or trade equity at closing with all leases. All factory rebates, incentives, and discounts are applied. Security deposit is waived. Includes returning lessee rebate, 10,000-mile allowance per year, 25 cents for each additional mile. Must have lease and household. Tier 1 credit approval required. Lessee responsible for repair and maintenance. Conditions apply. Get details at dealer. Whatever the make, trust your vehicle to our Chevy Certified Service Department. Come see how easy it is to do business with us. Together, let's drive at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor. Visit VictorChevrolet.com.
As a roofing contractor, the shingle you recommend is important. As a certified GAF contractor, Callan only installs the GAF Timberline HDZ 50-year non-pro-rated roofing system with the industry's only unlimited wind warranty and a 25-year algae production. It's the most advanced GAF shingle, period. Call Callan Contracting at 585-813-2761 or visit their website, callancontracting.com. Mention WYSL and save 5% off roofing or gutters.
See the USA the Myers way this summer in a new RV with up to 50% off MSRP during our model year-end clearance sale. 2024s and 5s must go to make room for our new 2026 RVs. Travel trailers, toy haulers, fifth wheels, and motorhomes. Over 100 brands from all major manufacturers. Since 1967, Myers has been the trusted family-owned dealer delivering unbeatable service, selection, and the area's best prices. Now with 15 locations across the Northeast, experience the difference.
WYSL.
You can leave a legacy in our community. Please consider a planned gift to Camp Good Days and Special Times. Camp Good Days has been a source of hope and support for our community. Your planned gift can help ensure that the camp will always be here for the children and adults who need us. Learn more on our website or call Camp Good Days and Special Times at 585-624-5555 and ask about planned giving options.
Ready to save on quality floors this summer? It's the blowout sale at Mullen Factory Direct Flooring in Almond. Over 400,000 square feet of vinyl, laminate, carpet, and remnants all marked down and in stock. No wait, no shipping. Grab it today and get it done. Whether you're updating or renovating, Mullins is there to help with expert guidance and 0% financing available. If you've been putting off new floors, don't wait. Get quality for less. Only at Mullen Factory Direct Flooring's blowout sale. Visit Mullen Factory Direct Flooring in Almond. They'll floor you.
Looking for dependable and affordable waste removal for your business or office? Look no further than Morgan Rubbish Removal. Committed to clean quality service because when it comes to keeping your space clean, you deserve a team you can trust. Visit us at morganrubbish.com today for a free quote.
Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
COVID did not get into the nursing homes by people coming from hospitals. COVID got into the nursing homes by staff walking into the nursing home.
See that? It wasn't his fault, everybody. Why would you blame His Majesty, well, his former majesty, he's still nobility, former majesty, King Cuomo II of his name, grabber of butts, killer of grandparents? Why would you blame him for that? It was those crazy staff people. Their fault. They did it. Psh, you people blaming him for that. Not his fault. Anyway, yes, Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number. Speaking of the number, I probably should grab a phone call here. Let me grab Craig. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Larry?
What's going on?
Oh, well, it's the, I don't know, this mayoral race. Every week it seems like there's somebody else on top and there's a new spin. And now I hear Curtis Sliwa is going to be the mayor because everybody else is splitting the vote and he's going to get the 23% that he needs. And we're going to have a Republican mayor again in New York City.
That would be amazing, but that's a fantasy. That would be amazing. I think it would be a great idea. I don't see it happening at all. The reason why I say it is, look, this is what Republicans do in New York State all the time. And if you're a Republican, you should know this. Locally, very often Republicans can win. True, the state overall has a whole lot of red in it. But when it comes to the cities and when it comes to overall, Republicans aren't winning. That's not a thing. Everyone goes, it's just New York City. Oh, no. Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, all of them, right? Not a thing. So what Republicans do is they provide false hope in those cases so they can keep raising money. So this is all false hope for Republicans in New York City so they can raise money. The New York City GOP, Craig, totally dropped the ball. They should have seen Mamdani coming. I told them when I interviewed Mamdani 3 years ago that he was coming. They didn't want to hear it. They ignored it. And they threw up Sliwa instead of a hardcore campaign. They didn't have Sliwa's campaign in action at all until after the primary, which was silly. It should have been rocking and rolling before. So the New York City GOP dropped the ball. And now they're like, wait, we can raise money off this. Let's act like Sliwa's going to win so we can raise money. That's what's actually happening, Craig.
Yeah, you know, I thought when I read the story, I don't remember. It might have been the Post, but they were covering someone else's story. And I said, I bet you I know how Larry feels about this. And I thought the same. Well, I thought the same thing. You know, maybe one of these days it'll be true and a Republican will break through. But I'm just like, I don't know. You've been giving me this copium for however long. I don't even like Republicans, but it would be nice to change the guard just because. But I've been getting copium for years now, and I don't believe anything that they tell me anymore.
That's you are correct. And this is my point. The Republicans in New York City did not prepare for this at all. If they had prepared, they might have had a chance. There was a chance, they're right, if they had actually either, the one of two things, got a more mainstream kind of crossover Republican candidate, option one. Option two, funded and pushed Sliwa's campaign as early as January this year. If they had done either of those two, they would have had a chance at this. They did neither. They were not ready for it. They thought Sliwa was going to be a sacrificial lamb, and sadly, because of what they thought, he will be. So there was a chance. I think you're right. And I wish they would have done it. I wish they would have. Hopefully, the New York City GOP has learned a lesson. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think there is a lesson to learn. I think they learned their lesson, and like you said, it's to earn money. So it's not actually a win; it's to keep. No, it's a feature. It's not a bug.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. We can only hope. I appreciate that. Thanks for the call, Greg.
Thank you.
So yeah, look, Craig has a valid point. There's a lot of people who don't trust the Republicans in cities anymore. I get it. I understand. I wish they had a better plan, a better idea. Look, Mamdani does something very well. He speaks to the left very well. He really does. He gives left-leaning plans, ideas very well. His rhetoric is good rhetoric. I mean, again, it's just rhetoric, but it is good. Clearly, he won the primary. His rhetoric works. Republicans should learn from this. The last Republican who crossed over very well in New York State, who really crossed over well, was probably Rob Astorino. Some of you know him. I know him too. I think he's a great guy. Why? He's actually unapologetically conservative. If you know him at all, he actually is. He is unapologetically conservative. But he's a nice guy with good rhetoric. He won in Westchester. Westchester's pretty blue. And he won in Westchester. Why? He's unapologetically conservative, so you know it's him. And he's a nice guy. Those two things are true. Mamdani's kind of the same. He's unapologetically a lefty, and he's actually a nice guy. Just saying, they could learn something from, Republicans could learn something from Mamdani. I know it makes him feel unhappy, but it's true. So anyway, Patty says, so is AOC. That's what she did all the way up here. You mean in Plattsburgh. And told us to come up with a plan and policies. Told you to. So you need your plans. Okay, Patty. You should run for mayor of Plattsburgh then. Since you need the plans, you should take her job. I thought that was her job. Okay. I didn't know that's how that works. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to run for governor, and I'm going to go around New York going, hey, you guys fix everything. Well, wait, aren't you running for governor? Yeah, I'm running for governor, and you guys go fix everything. What are you going to do? I'm gonna collect money, and that's it, and yell at you guys. That's what I'm going to do. That's my plan. My plan is to collect money and yell at you guys, and you guys fix it. And if you don't, I'm going to blame you. I love that. That's a good plan, Patty. AOC has a good plan. I don't know if it'll work, but if it does, I'm so copying. It's a great idea. I get to blame you guys. That's it. Peter says, Eric Adams is really a Republican. He is. He's much more of a, well, when you say Republican, a New York City Republican. That's not a South Carolina Republican. That's not a Oklahoma Republican. But yes, as far as New York City goes, yes, he's Republican. Basically, New York City, if you're a socialist, you're a Republican. If you're a communist, you're a Democrat. I'm kidding. I'm exaggerating. But you know what I mean, Peter. I'm teasing. But he kind of is one. Yeah. Daniel says, ours only have a chance in deep blue areas if ranked choice voting. So why are they so against it? Okay, I'll tell you why. This is what Craig was talking about when he called earlier. Most of the people in charge, both Democrat and Republican, they like the status quo. Whether they win or lose, they still win. The reason why we have matching funds in New York State is because what's happening in New York State is our economy is crashing. So people aren't donating as much as they used to. So what do? You have the government give them money instead, taxpayer dollars, right? You also do that to make sure that only establishment people get cash. Now, both sides get cash. Republicans now get tons of cash. And so their grifter class gets money. So why would you change anything? All they care about is getting paid. That's what matters. And if you're in a right-leaning district, and there's a lot of them in New York State, obviously, the Democrats get paid still. So why would they change anything? So they don't want to change anything. The problem is for the establishment, ranked choice voting is terrible. And they have convinced most of the average voters that ranked choice voting is bad. It's absolutely not. Demonstrably false. I show it constantly on how it shakes up the establishment. Now, if you're someone who says, I like the Democratic Republican establishment, you should hate ranked choice voting. Makes total sense. If you're like, no, it's not working, I want to fix things, you should not. You should love ranked choice voting. All it does is shake up the establishment. That's what it does. It does a very good job of it. So to answer your question, why they're against it, the establishment is against anything that shakes up the establishment. They're all getting paid. They've gone out of their way to convince the average voter the same. But for the average voter, ranked choice voting is the only way they have power. The establishment does not want the voter to have any power. They want to stay in charge with the establishment. Again, if you like the establishment, I get it. Why would you want to change it? You're getting paid. You got status, right? If you're, I don't know, county chair for the Republican Democratic Party, you're making tons of cash. You good. You don't need to change anything. That's why. Hope that makes sense at least. So he goes on, is it because they're also part of the establishment? Yes, exactly right. It keeps the establishment there. That's the issue. Ranked choice voting breaks the establishment. So it's that simple. Anyway, do you guys like ranked choice voting? Do you think I'm nuts? Do you think Craig is right? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Debunking advertising from the law office of Christopher Johnson. One ad some injury attorneys inundate you with, what's your case worth? Call us and find out. You know, nobody can tell you, quote, what your case is worth over the phone. Nobody knows. The ultimate answer to, quote, what your case is worth involves weeks or months of research, evaluation, and preparation. Many factors go into any compensation you might get, like applicable law, who's actually at fault, how much insurance coverage there is, and many, many other factors. At the law office of Christopher Johnson, the singular focus is getting your life back on track after an accident or injury. That takes money, and it helps when the advice and legal advice you get has a one-on-one focus informed by straight talk.
All right, when we come back, I'm going to play another oldie but goodie clip.
Injury and DWI defense. Call 585-415-3803. 585-415-3803.
Youth for Christ Rochester is creating a safe sanctuary and a Christ culture for at-risk city kids. Our basketball programs provides a strict code of conduct, discipline, and mentoring to give our kids the boundaries they need and crave. Our God's Girls middle school program is so popular, we're now in 3 city schools and growing. Our Performing Arts Academy explores and identifies untapped gifts, all while delivering the gospel of Jesus Christ. Give a monthly or one-time gift at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Can't I get you to sing just a few bars of Empire State of Mind?
No, that's a campaign killer.
All right, fine. We're going to go to the end of the debate.
Unless you come to the shower.
All right, we're done.
Got to come to the shower. I think he was foreshadowing a little bit of butt grabbing back then. I think he was foreshadowing it. Just saying. He is King Cuomo. Second of his name. Grabber of butts. Killer of grandparents. Banisher of conservatives. He is that. That's true. Locker down of businesses. Also true. Any case, we are talking a lot about this New York City thing and what will happen, right? And how things could happen. Let me grab a couple of comments if I could. All right, Mike brings up the idea. He says, the problem for Dems is that Mamdani is a Pandora's box. 2026 will be filled with progressive and socialist candidates across the state. None with experience, but lots of promises and free stuff. Well, here's the issue. If he's effective this year, if you notice, when the Democrats crushed Bernie back in 2016, progressives, when it came to elected officials, were kind of shut down for a while. It kind of broke their spirit. So if Mamdani wins, I think you're right, or at least does very well, but wins, yes. But if they crush him, which is their goal, I think no. I think this will be kind of swept under the rug for a couple of years until the next person, the next Mamdani, or if he comes back again. You've got to have someone get a win to motivate people to move forward in this one, right? I think that's the key. If that happens, yes. If not, and they know it like you know it. They want to stop it. That's the difference. They really want to stop it. So, all right, I'll grab a couple more of these if I could. All right. Gene says, our country is currently run by oligarchs. True. 100% true. And it bothers me tremendously. John says, I'm seeing some parallels with New York City mayoral elections and a Syracuse one. Yes, you're right. They are similar. I agree. Syracuse may be because it's the city I'm near and affects me more, but I'm cautiously optimistic that Tom Babylon can win. I was at an event with Tom 2 weeks ago. You were there, John. John actually came to that event. And, Tom is trying. I had him on when I was doing Bob Lonsberry's show. I was guest hosting Bob Lonsberry's show. For those who don't know, Bob Lonsberry is a very popular radio talk show host locally in Rochester and Syracuse here in New York. So, yeah, I was hosting his show, and I had Babylon on. Good guy. I think it's very similar, and I hope he does well. I hope he wins. It'd be amazing. Independents are running there. All that stuff's happening. I get it completely. Kaiwan says, do you think if Zohran wins the election, the city becomes less corrupt or more corrupt? I don't think it'll get better economically. It'll be less corrupt than with Adams. Here is my thought process on this. If Mamdani brings in people who are ideologues, who are hardcore transparency guys, then the city will actually freeze, but be less corrupt. Let me explain what I mean by that. If nothing can get done, it will be less corrupt, if that makes any sense. So if his ideologues come in and they're all about transparency, if that is true, if he can get that group of people in charge to make that happen and to be that transparent, everything will freeze. So it will be less corrupt because nothing will get done. But if stuff keeps moving forward, it will have to remain corrupt because that's how things get done in New York City. You have to, right? That's the problem. So I think, again, if he brings ideologues in who are hardcore transparency, don't care if the city collapses, then the city will get worse off. However, it will be less corrupt. There'll be a price to pay. Corruption is the way the city works. So, yes. Now, in my magical perfect world, again, this is magical world of leprechauns and unicorns, he would do that, we would see the corruption, and New York City people would change the system so it wouldn't be corrupt. Now, of course, that's magical thinking. In reality, the city will collapse, they'll blame him, they'll get rid of him, and put in a corrupt guy again. That will actually happen. But I kind of wish it wouldn't, right? I wish it wouldn't. But yeah, any case. Patty says, Larry, I need another show so Mike and I can continue our conversation. Well, remember, I still have my show at 7, and Mike has a show every Sunday. So there are lots of options. There we go, lots of options. Dave says, Larry, the problem is candidates from both parties play gate to the base and not the middle. This is the problem with closed primaries. Now, a lot of people say, Larry, wait a minute. Primaries should be open. Should be closed because why should Democrats and independents pick Republicans? Why should Republicans and independents pick Democrats? Because we're paying for it. That's the reason why. Because everything's gerrymandered. That's the second reason why. So if you don't gerrymander districts, make that illegal, which it should be. The idea that it's constitutional is shameful. And yet again, our horrible judges have proved that true. And the idea that we're paying, taxpayer dollars are paying for private organizations.
Roger.
Someone, yet again, a problem. So if we stop paying for this and we stop gerrymandering, then private organizations should create their people any way they like. Of course, we should not be involved. Not be involved at all. Let them play it to their base if they want to, whatever they want. But if we're paying for it and it's gerrymandered, they don't get that. So, yeah, I think you are correct. I'll grab a call if I could. This is Roger. How are you, sir?
Hey, Larry.
What's going on?
Can you hear me? Oh, yeah. So let me just make sure we get this straight.
Okay.
This is not communism. This is oligarchy. Communism
Ooh, okay, go
is
ahead.
Communism is when big business is under the thumb of government. Oligarchy is the exact opposite. So that's one. Ro Khanna is
aren't they the same in this
socialist.
case, though?
Say it again?
In this case, aren't they the same?
No, because like you said it without saying it. You said it without realizing it. Simple fact that Cuomo is looking for his big donors already says that, okay, I'm going to do what you want when I get in, like I've always done.
Yep.
So
Correct.
right there, who funds you runs you. You know, so
Yes,
you want to
but
get in
that's
there
not
and do
communism.
what you say.
I've never
No,
said
that's
that Cuomo was a
oligarchy.
communist. Yes.
Right. No. What I'm saying is you were talking about our government. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, got it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know?
I'm on board with you. Go ahead.
So Ro Khanna, socialist. He's cosplaying socialist. That's funny. What's his name? Adams. Now,
Well, I think Ro Khanna. Let me touch Ro Khanna. I think Ro Khanna is all over the map. I think he changes based upon whatever he think is working for him at that time.
Yeah, that sounds like a Cuomo is.
Yep. I would buy that. Yes.
Also, Adams, I'll never forget the time. Now, you was talking about your mom, right? I'll never forget that time. There was this lady who's going around New York interviewing people about the mayor's race. And, you know, you could tell she's a DSA agent, whatever the case is, right? And she went to the black neighborhood and she asked the black woman who was, if not Generation X, definitely baby boomer. They asked, hey, so who you voting for? Oh, Adams. Why? How come? Oh, because he's a God-fearing man. That's the hand in palm moment. That type of mentality is what sold the coming generation of black people, millennials and Zoomers out. Oh, you just got to be a God-fearing man. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
The only way you're going to get people to vote based on policy is if you put the policy before them on the ballot. We have to stop trusting in politicians. I mean, I trust in you, Larry. You're the only one. But we got to stop trusting politicians and start believing in ourselves to run the government. You see what I'm saying? And the only way that can happen is citizen ballot initiative, Amanda.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, Roger. I had a feeling. Brother, I appreciate you. Know I'm on board. I appreciate it, my friend. Thanks for the call.
All right.
So yes, I think. Look, I get where he's going, and I think we should be spending more time. I like the idea of ballot initiatives tremendously. It's a way of breaking the oligarchy. It's a way of breaking the establishment, and it makes them have to come to us and say, "Look, here is why this is fair." Write that. So, Patty says, to be fair to AOC, she said, like you say, each area is unique and needs to make clear its unique needs and wants. Her event was to get us to run against the area Republicans, especially. Oh, that's why. That makes sense. Okay. At least that makes sense. I get that. Nice way of wrapping this show up. Trying to get people to be local. Localization is a big deal. I love that. More and more of that's important. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.